I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis!
I'm Batman.
Maximus Meridius.
Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
So let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
Anyone can be a hero, but not everyone can have an epic entrance to solidify their legacy. On that note, here are the top 25 most legendary hero entrances in the movies.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
If you don't know much about John Carpenter's They Live, then I suggest you watch it immediately. This movie is more relevant today than it ever has been in terms of conspiracies, especially the one about news and media using symbolism to push consumers to consume.
Oh, you see, I take these glasses off. She looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on, formaldehyde face. That's like pouring perfume on a pig.
I won't get into any details about that though. I just want to talk about how John makes a super badass entrance to attack the aliens that are trying to take over his planet. What makes it so iconic is the way he casually walks into the building and says he's here to chew bubblegum and kick butt. Yeah, that's a line you don't hear every day.
White male, 30s, long hair.
Mama don't like tattletales.
Wearing sunglasses.
One appearance is usually more than enough to get the job done, but here we've got 3 of them. Jennifer Garner kicks things off with a surprise entrance as Elektra, but then we also get Channing Tatum as Gambit and, most importantly, Wesley Snipes as Blade.
And you! I was not expecting to see you here. Thought you were, retired.
Retarded.
Retired. I'm already in the void. I'm not trying to get cancelled again.
Yeah, no one was expecting to see these characters in Deadpool and Wolverine, but we did, and we were happy.
And who's this? Succulent reminder of my own inadequacies. Look at you. You look like the superhero version of Hawkeye.
The reason this scene works so well is because it has the correct actors for the characters being portrayed, and it wasn't used to hype up the movie, unlike the Illuminati for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Yeah, I sure am glad these folks got the spotlight they deserved, especially Gambit, because of all that drama that went into producing his solo film.
I'm still trying to ice skate up here.
Why don't you do right like some other man?
I know the movie is called Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but I'm sure everyone's eyes were only on Jessica Rabbit the moment she made her first appearance.
She's married to Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, what a lucky girl.
Yes, she is a cartoon being mixed with live-action actors and characters, but it's hard to deny the kind of impression she leaves behind not only on Eddie, but also on the audience. I'm sure Eddie would have been like, yeah, that sure as heck ain't no rabbit. The animation was really good, especially since it's from 1988, and more than anything else, this scene was a highlight for many in the industry. It was because of successes like this that we got to see films like Space Jam.
Dabbling in watercolors, Eddie?
Sorry.
Step out in the light and let's have a look at you. Who's your boss?
Soms was heute nie überhaupt ein. Seien Sie deppert.
Harry.
Oh man, I'd really love to go back in time and live through the earlier years of Hollywood like the 40s and the 50s. They sure look like a different vibe altogether, especially with the likes of Orson Welles, who gave the industry one of its major legacy classics in Citizen Kane. For this entry though, we're taking a look at him as an actor playing the iconic Harry Lime from 1949's The Third Man.
Well, what the fella said, in Italy for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance.
This is when Martins realizes that Harry isn't dead, but is actually alive, which at the time was a massive moment in cinema.
In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace, and what did that produce? The cuckoo clock.
The setup, the direction, the lighting, Wells' smirk, the cat, Joseph Cotton's scream of Harry! The way you suddenly realize what's going to happen 1 second before it happens. Nothing has ever beaten this if we're looking at contemporaries from the same era.
$10,000 from me by myself. For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
I know you need to make a mark when you make an entrance, but Quint took that in the most annoying way possible and made life very difficult, not only for the people in the meeting, but also the audiences that had to bear through that screeching noise for a lot longer than they should have.
I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10.
Anyway, Robert Shaw makes his introduction count as he goes on to present his 2 cents on taking down a murderous shark. He sure doesn't look like the nicest man on the planet, and his suggestions aren't very noble either, but that's not who Quaint is supposed to be anyway. He's a man who offers a solution, albeit at a higher price. However, his speech is all you need to figure out that you're dealing with one of Hollywood's earliest badasses.
You know the thing about a shark, he's got lifeless eyes. Black eyes, like a doll's eye. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living. The ocean turns red and rip you to pieces.
Paul Atreides is slowly turning out to be one of the most iconic characters in New Age cinema, and even Martin Scorsese wouldn't argue with me on that. After all, Timothée Chalamet has made quite a name for himself as a capable actor, and we see his skills in full flow when he makes a legendary entrance in Dune 2. He was shown as this little helpless kid in the first movie who was just finding his footing.
Sound okay?
But in the sequel, it was like he awakened Chad mode. The atmosphere that Denis Villeneuve creates is highly impactful because you can actually feel the weight of Paul's entrance as he makes his way through countless people. Of course, this is also an indication that he may be turning over to the dark side, but he's still technically a hero at this point, so I'll allow him in at number 19.
I am Paul Muad'Dib Atreides, Duke of Arrakis, Erudidina Heshidani, Nelisan Al-Gai, Rui Dimenaru.
Donnie! Yeah? Guy's German here wants to die for country. Oblige him.
Now, I'm not too sure if Quentin Tarantino would want to call any of his characters heroes, because he's mostly written them with a kind of moralistic ambiguity.
Hear that?
Yes.
Sergeant Donnie Donowitz. You might know him better by his nickname, the Bear Jew.
Having said that, I can definitely conclude that the Bear Jew was justified in doing whatever he did to that unfortunate Nazi soldier. Can't say the dude didn't have it coming, right? But I sure didn't expect such an iconic appearance from Eli Roth. Donnie Donowitz was talked up to be some freak of nature.
I heard of the Bear Jew. What'd you hear?
Meets German soldiers with a club.
He bashes the brains in with a baseball bat, what he does.
And his rugged look doubled down on that statement. Now, if you don't know the actor, he's actually more recognized in the film world as a director, his most popular film being Hostel. Yeah, I can definitely see the connection there, because Jesus Christ, that was a really brutal way to take revenge. I know war is supposed to be unforgiving and all of that, but sheesh, at least show some humanity, bro.
Das bringt euch den weiten Weg bis hier raus.
Imagine being an overpowered warrior worthy enough to be part of Thanos' primary guards and then getting spooked by a dude in a beard who only has the power of some premium steroids. Having said that, I don't really blame Proxima Midnight for being so affected by Steve Rogers making what I personally believe is his best entrance in the MCU. The setup is brilliant and the execution is even better. Bro was made to look like a horror movie monster to the bad guys and followed up with a spectacular fight. The way he grabs that spear was super badass too. You could tell that Captain America had enough of messing around and he was here to kick some serious butt. This is such a stark contrast from what we're used to seeing. The Steve Rogers has always been this clean-shaven angel who wouldn't even use foul language, and yet here he looks like he could get into a savagery competition with Wolverine himself.
Your haircut? Notice you've copied my beard.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Iron Man and Captain America haven't always been on the best of terms, as there's a whole movie which covers a literal war between the two iconic MCU characters. Having said that, I have no shame in admitting that I've always been a Tony Stark loyalist, and I'll always side with him over Steve Rogers any day of the week. But even if you can take my bias aside, I think it's safe to say that Robert Downey Jr. executed his role to perfection and portrayed a multitude of emotions right throughout a journey.
There is no version of this where you come out on top. Maybe your army comes, and maybe it's too much for us, but it's all on you. Because if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn well sure we'll avenge it.
That he started with this solo film. This is exactly why Iron Man rescuing Cap from Loki will forever remain an iconic entry.
Mr. Stark. Captain.
The God of Mischief wasn't struggling at all against Steve, and it clearly looked like he was going to win soon, but one AC/DC song and multiple plasma blasts later, Bro surrenders immediately. And yes, I'm going to ignore the fact that it was his plan all along, because at the time, the audience didn't know about it, did they? Plus, how on earth are you going to question such a badass appearance? Yeah, Cap may have had an epic moment in the previous entry, but he's the one who gets saved here, so Tony wins by default.
Stark, we need a plan of attack.
I have a plan. Attack.
Johnny Depp has had his fair share of controversies and media coverage over the past few years, but the most important thing is that he's a redeemed man now, which means we can praise Captain Jack Sparrow again without having to worry about the optics. Well, the TV region always separates the art from the artist, but it helps that Mr. Depp is now looked at more favourably after all the drama.
Me, I'm dishonest. And a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest. It's the honest ones you want to watch out for, because you can never predict they're going to do something incredibly stupid.
Speaking of drama, I highly doubt we'll ever come across a character as dramatic and hilarious as Jack Sparrow, who at the same time exhibits a rather impressive sense of tact. The first time he makes an entrance on the big screen is very typical of his character, as he looks extremely badass at first, only to later reveal that he's not on some epic ship, but a sinking boat. I don't think there's anything that could have described him better than this sequence, and the character sure lives up to the same reputation throughout the rest of the franchise. Remember, Bro managed to achieve all of this without uttering a single line of dialogue. That's true legend material right there.
Gentlemen, my lady, you will always remember this as the day that you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow.
Find Peter Parker!
Great, it's just some random guy.
Hello. I hope it's okay. I just came through this, just closed.
This one would normally not be anything special because it's just a couple of dudes walking through a portal, but the moment we learn that said dudes are Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, the entire dynamic changes. This entry earns its spot simply for nostalgia purposes because it injected it with so much of it that the entire world almost overdosed.
Peter.
Yeah? Oh, sorry.
Did you mean that?
Or
Peter.
we're all called Peter.
Peter Parker?
Same again, we're all Peter Parker.
It was definitely teased in the build-up to the movie, and yes, we all know that Kevin Feige ain't slick with all those so-called leaks breaking out every now and then, but in doing so, he created hype for a movie that totally redeemed the MCU. Well, at least for a temporary period anyway. Seeing our childhood heroes grace the screen again is a feeling that is hard to put into words, especially when the mere sight of Tobey takes you all the way back to almost 20 years ago.
Wait, so you're Spider-Man too? Why didn't you just say that?
I generally don't go around advertising it. Kind of defeats the whole anonymous superhero thing.
If we consider that the movie released in 2021, you could say that people were hoping and almost expecting to see these two, but when it actually happens, the experience is way too overwhelming. Just look at any video online about the crowd reactions to this entry scene, and you know exactly why I'm placing it so high, despite it not being anything out of the ordinary in terms of a neutral perspective.
I really don't know how to say this.
Peter.
I want you to know that I...
You know. It's what we do.
Thank you.
The world knows Superman as one of the most recognizable faces in pop culture. It held true for the longest time, right from when comic books began to pick up in the United States, but back in 1978, the general public still wasn't too gaga over him. Enter Christopher Reeves, quite literally in this epic sequence as the Man of Steel, and the world was never quite the same after. We see so many things unfold that it's kinda hard to keep track. First of all, Clark Kent gives us the iconic S reveal.
Hey, Jim! Woo!
Excuse me.
That's a bad outfit!
Then has a funny little exchange with one of the civilians, and then he just shows us exactly why Superman should be our new favorite superhero. Bro casually held a chopper with one hand while holding Lois Lane close to his heart with the other.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Who knew being an overpowered alien from Krypton would automatically give you the power of Riz? Well, as far as Lois is concerned, her reactions are a bit over the top.
Who are you?
A friend.
But I'm willing to overlook all of that just because of how awesome this entire sequence is. I mean, it makes me miss an era that I wasn't even born in. That alone should tell you its impact.
What color underwear am I wearing?
Pink.
Why, do you like pink?
I like pink very much, Lois.
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
When people parody Batman, the most common line they can think of is,
I'm Batman.
but they keep using it as a reference to Christian Bale's Dark Knight. However, the real credit for this brilliant bit of meme history actually goes to 1989's Batman, Michael Keaton. His opening scene tells us everything we need to know about the character and what we should be expecting from the rest of the movie too. Full credit to director Tim Burton as well for adding the goth to Gotham City. This man is renowned for his almost mystical set pieces, and this one was no different. We all know that Bruce Wayne is a badass, but even then, to hear the words, I'm Batman, it's kind of like a spiritual experience now.
Killed my parents.
What? What are you talking about?
I made you. You made me first.
And it's only possible because of what we see here. Want to know a fun fact? The line was originally meant to be, I am the night, or
I'm vengeance.
but Keaton kept fumbling it. He ultimately ad-libbed, I'm Batman, and history was made. What made it even better is that there are a lot of people against casting Keaton in such a role, and he proved them wrong by adding his improvisation to the history books. That's literally a Batman thing to do.
A lot of people think you're as dangerous as the Joker.
He's psychotic.
Some people say the same thing about you. You're not exactly normal, are you?
It's not exactly a normal world, is it?
What the hell? Bugger off, pal.
So let me simply add that it's my very good honor to meet you, and you may call me V.
I would have loved to have seen a whole TV show dedicated to V from V for Vendetta, but unfortunately, we live in a world where Netflix would rather give us another season of Emily in Paris than tap into that true work of art. The moment we first see V, we realize that we're not dealing with some standard hero concept. This is a man who has a very particular set of skills and manages to execute them way better than Liam Neeson in Taken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I counted like 50 words that start with V in under a minute. This script is actually insane if you take away the acting and just have the dialogue. Kudos to Hugo Weaving too for being able to pull it off while making it look effortless. Bro was so obsessed with the letter that I'd bet he'd prefer a V+ in his grade rather than an A+.
However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition.
Evie may have been confused too, but you could also see a sense of admiration in her eyes after being rescued by our badass hero. I'm not too sure Anakin Skywalker would have liked seeing someone else save his girl though. Can you even imagine how cool it would be to have V versus Darth Vader in a lightsaber duel?
Why won't you die?
Beneath this mask, there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask, there is an idea, Mr. Creedy, and ideas are bulletproof.
Jesus, that's him.
It's Blade. It's the Daywalker.
Wesley Snipes was all about the jokes when he made his cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I'm pretty sure there was one particular thing he wasn't joking about. The fact that there's only one Blade, and there's only ever gonna be one Blade. I mean, Mahershala Ali's got so sick of waiting for the new Blade film that he's out visiting forbidden dinosaur islands now. Anyway, the entry that made it to number 8 today is the super famous nightclub scene from the first ever Blade film, and man, it sure gives a heck of an introduction to the audience members. I need to remind you that these are all bloodthirsty vampires from a very literal sense, dancing like there's no tomorrow, and they're freaking terrified of Blade, or in their words, the Daywalker. Yeah, you know you're dealing with a grade A badass if he's been given a nickname like that by the vampires. The dark tone, the background music, and of course the brutal action that follows all come together to give us the most cherished Marvel entrance before the days of the MCU. Plus, this was a hardcore R-rated film, and not the Deadpool kind.
I'm getting a little tired of chopping you up. Thought I might try fire for a change.
Give my regards to Frost.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
We all know that Arnie loves himself a good old chopper.
Get to the chopper!
But not many would have imagined how badass he'd look while making an entrance in one. Action movies of the 70s and 80s were so loaded with masculinity that it really makes you wonder what happened as we entered the modern era. I mean, Dutch has given off more testosterone here than all the men of the 21st century combined. Look at him smoking that cigar. It's almost as if he's got the confidence to take down an entire platoon all by himself. If there was ever an Oscar for badass entrances, you know who'd have won it in 1987. Yeah, Dwayne Johnson Smolder's got nothing on this guy. And the fact that the epic handshake with Dylan happens right after this, and you'll never get over how awesome this sequence is.
What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
Bro was oozing aura way before Gen Z made it a thing, and the class is undeniable no matter how you look at Arnold here. On a side note, that Huey pilot made one heck of a badass landing. Comes in low and fast, pitches back at the last second to burn off the speed, and quickly lands. Now that's the work of a seasoned expert. See, every single thing about this scene is so damn perfect.
You one ugly motherfucker.
This is probably the most badass entrance we'll ever get to see from a female character, and yet it's made out to be more of an escape. We've been used to seeing Giga Chads pull off all kinds of moves, but every once in a while, a girl boss comes along to show us that women can also give us some memorable classics. The very first scene in The Matrix was executed so well that it pretty much set the tone for the rest of the movie. I figured we were in for a treat the moment I heard the line,
"No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead."
Right then, we knew we were in for some major badassery, which would go on to inspire countless films thereafter. The stunts are so out of the world, particularly when you consider that the movie released well over 25 years ago. The effects stand out, and Trinity totally passes the vibe check as she takes out multiple opponents and carries out her escape. Carrie-Anne Moss made a lot of young men fall in love with her after this film, and I'm not ashamed to admit that yours truly is one of them. Man, why can't they make action sequences like this anymore? Instead, they gave us whatever the heck The Matrix Resurrections was supposed to be.
Dodge this.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
You forgot to say please.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's impact on the film world should really be studied. Bro almost had back-to-back entries in the top 10 of a list covering legendary entrances. Then again, that's exactly the kind of legacy he's left behind as a global star. Now, we all know he was the main villain in the first Terminator film, but then the producers and James Cameron decided to turn him into a good guy because that always makes better sense when you're trying to make millions of dollars. The Terminator's entrance in Judgment Day wasn't all that different in terms of the clothes he was wearing, and considering how he did end up dressing himself, I'd say the audience was definitely thinking he'd be the bad guy here as well. Luckily, Bro turned out to be a literal lifesaver later on.
Hasta la vista, baby.
So I suppose we can forgive him for robbing people in his very first series of interactions with humans. Think about it. In just 5 minutes, the T-800 was able to get a full set of clothes, a bike, 2 guns, and a pair of glasses like a total boss. I also found it funny that he was riding a motorcycle at night with the lights off while also wearing sunglasses. But then again, robots don't really need to follow the rules of us puny humans now, do they? Harrison Ford may be busy getting angry as the Red Hulk nowadays, but back in the 80s, he was an absolute blockbuster of an actor. The man was already a superstar thanks to the success of Star Wars, but that wasn't enough, so he turned into the coolest professor of all time. Indiana Jones as a franchise kicked off with the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and seeing the very first sequence pretty much made it certain that we had another legendary series in the making. Seeing Indy for the first time was thrilling because he was played by an already known name, and then he gave us one of the best intro scenes we could have asked for. Notwithstanding all those creepy spiders, there isn't a lot of dialogue, as it's mostly just watching our man solve a big puzzle which helps you understand who the main character is. I understood his character's essence within 10 minutes, and I'm sure the people who watched this film in the theaters would have felt the same way too. That's what strikes the holy balance between getting to know the character and also the world he's a part of. Also, here's a fun fact if you don't know, the giant rolling boulder is made of fiberglass, and the sound of it rolling is a Honda Civic driving over gravel, but slowed down.
There's a big snake in the plane, Jacques! Oh, that's just my pet snake, Reggie! I hate snakes, Jacques! I hate them! Come on, show a little backbone, will ya?
Say hello again to the TV region's most regular scene, the Wakanda entrance by the one and only Thor. The fact that this scene came out in 2018 and somehow lands at number 3 is a testament to its epic nature. I mean, you could be an MCU hater, but you still wouldn't be able to deny this legendary moment its due credit. The God of Thunder had to go through tons of trauma throughout the movie, but this was his one shot at redemption, and oh boy, he sure redeems as much as is possible. He tilts the scale immediately just by appearing in the middle of what was clearly looking like an Avengers defeat.
Bring me Thanos!
Not just that, bro strikes a regal pose and follows it up with the most badass thump you'll ever see from a hammer or an axe. The audience was thoroughly entertained by Thor's antics here, and why shouldn't they be? With all the stress and tension being built in Infinity War, we all needed a moment of relief, and Thor grants it with what is easily his best appearance of all time. I've said it before, and I'll say it as many times as I want to. Chris Hemsworth will probably need to pull a rabbit out of a hat if he ever wants to achieve a higher peak than this.
You should have gone for the head. What did you do? I went for the head.
I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
You have to be a serious badass if you're going to beat the Wakanda entry from Thor, that too, solo. However, when you happen to be the most iconic and legendary spy across all media and fiction, there's no challenging the fact that you are indeed the better choice. James Bond may be a sort of divisive character in today's world, but for the longest time, he was the ultimate male example. Bro was so masculine that he raised the testosterone levels of every room he entered.
You never take me to dinner looking like this, James. You never take me to dinner, period.
I would, you know. Only Anne would have me court-martialed for illegal use of government property.
And the first time we got to see him properly on film is in 1962's Dr. No, in the middle of some playful gambling. The aura of Sean Connery is unmatched, even to this day, and I genuinely believe we'll never have another icon like him. It didn't matter who you were at the time, James Bond was your idol. Men wanted to be him, and women wanted to be with him. Just look at how bro's chilling. Even then, no one will ever look as cool while lighting a cigarette as he does here.
Mr. Bond, I suppose you wouldn't care to, raise the limit?
I have no objections.
It may be an introduction to the man, but this was the one scene they had to get absolutely right. The one scene where they had to make the audience understand exactly the kind of character Bond is, and they nailed it. I know it's not healthy, but just watching this scene made me want to light one as well. Just kidding. You know I wouldn't be seduced by Mr. Bond as easily as Sylvia.
I have to leave immediately.
When did you say you had to leave?
Immediately. Almost immediately.
Avengers!
Can there be any entrance in the world of heroes that's more legendary than this? Yes, I know the film bros are going to go full Martin Scorsese on me, and while I do love the classics, I can't deny the impact that this one particular moment made. I mean, it's not just one hero we're talking about here. Each and every superhero we lost in Infinity War comes back to lift our spirits. Well, apart from Vision, but we won't get into the details about that. This entry is number one, not just because of how grand and awesome it is in general, but also because of what it means to the audience. We'd been following this franchise religiously for the longest time, and we wanted some kind of grand payoff for our efforts. Needless to say, this was probably the best possible outcome for everyone after the events of the previous film. Hearing Falcon tell Captain America to check his left
On your left.
was the moment that hit us all the hardest, because we just knew at this very moment that history was about to be made. The entirety of the MCU came together to take down its core villain, and they sure delivered. Hearing Steve Rogers scream "Avengers Assemble" will forever remain attached to my heart, and simply seeing everyone go ballistic after that was a heck of a lot more than my money's worth. The point I'm trying to make here is that the MCU dared to achieve something spectacular, and they managed to do it, so kudos to them for giving us such a brilliant scene.
And again, that's the hero gig. Part of the journey is the end.
What am I even tripping for? Everything's gonna work out exactly the way it's supposed to. I love you 3000.
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Region, and here's another video that you're going to enjoy.